of the technical talks. So today's technical talk will the eYIC technical talk will be on Android development. So let me walk you through what do you understand what is eYIC. So eYIC is an initiative by e-Yantra where you get to learn. It's a competition where you get to learn how innovation is done, how it's built with entrepreneurship, and how you get through getting done with the businesses, and like how you develop something, how you develop a product and help in selling it. So for that you'll be registering. So basically this is what we call it, that's eYIC, Yantra Innovation Challenge. So this year the theme is agriculture. As you see, we have lots of problems and problem statements in related to agriculture, where the touch of technology can help us do some things with great output. So this is where we encourage you guys to solve the real world innovative problems. So you see here, this is the referral code from which you can get discounts. So now the question is how to register for this specific competition. So you can go to your Chrome and just type for eYIC portal. So you can jump on this link. So you open this, so you can go for the register button. You can register there. You have to fill this particular details as mentioned. So if you are a ELSI college, you get 20% discount. If you are all girls team, you get 10% discount. And after filling out the form, you can see a referral code option where you can use the referral code mentioned here, that is 25MH1077SHGJD. So this is the referral code by which you can get additional discount, and after that you can submit the registration, and you will get registered to eYIC. So now I'll be handovering the talk to Siddharth, who will continue further.
Yeah. So, very warm welcome to everyone. Myself, Siddharth. I am currently working as a senior project technical assistant at Yantra IIT Bombay. So we got a lot of things to discuss. So without any further delay, let's get into the session. So this session will be about introductions to Android Studio. So where we will learn about building a scalable, how we can build a scalable applications scalable applications with the modern architectural patterns. Okay. So these are the prerequisite I have already mentioned on the portal. So you should have a basic understanding of hooks, and familiarity with the either Java or Kotlin is optional. So we are going to invest our time understanding the things, not you can say too much implementing it. So you can implement using any of the languages, Java or Kotlin, anything. Then you should have installed Android Studio. This is recommended for the hands-on practice, and of course a desire to build amazing applications. Okay. So these will be the entire our session roadmap. So for the first thing, we will discuss why Android matters to us so much, where we will discuss why we decided to teach this session, and then after we will go a small tour, Android Studio tours, okay, where we will build our very first applications, okay, here only, and then we will talk about some components, what type of components Android has, and then layouts, visits also, and then this is the core of our entire, you can say, session. This is observer pattern. So we will discuss about this observer pattern, and then we will extend this observer patterns to the MVVM architectures, and then we will understand the differences in both. Okay, then in last we will build our APK, whatever, and then final recap and essential topics which I haven't covered, and then also we made a quiz for that you guys, so that to track your knowledge mastery. Okay. So without any delay, let's get into the very first thing, why Android matters to us so much. So Android is a most worldwide used operating system. Okay, so these are the 3 points I kind of concluded here. These are the 3 points I kind of get. First one point is the market share. Okay, so almost 70% of smartphones worldwide currently running on only Android only. So that is the reason why we decided to teach you Android, because maybe your some idea get aligned with the Android applications or something. So that you should know Android. Now we have apps available, almost 3.5 million applications currently already has been you can say published on the Play Store. So you can just by taking this number in account, you can just imagine the how big developer community size we have. Okay, and then we have a open source. So main diversifications of this Android operating system is the main reason for this is open source platform. Okay, so this Android is fully open source. You can build your hardware and you can clone your entire repository of Android operating system, and you can just deploy onto your hardware, and you can just customize according to your need. Okay, so Android is running approximately on the 3.9 billion active devices. So that's why from the you can say due to this open source nature, so we have a Android operating system on a wearable also, like watch and all these things, are smart TVs, automotive like infotainment system and all these things. So this is almost 3.9 billion. You can imagine your just user base. Okay, so target user you can say. So yeah, so now I'll give you a you can say a tour of Android Studio entirely, where we will discuss project structures and built-in emulators and all these things. Before get into the tours, let's discuss some common UI terms. So this is what we call a status bar. Okay, just keep all these terms in mind, and this is we called a home button. This entire you can say area, and then we have this bottom navigations menu, bottom navigations navbar also you can say. Okay, so yeah, so now let's get into the our Android Studio. So if you have installed this Android Studio on Windows or in Mac, then you will get a one you can say a nice little icon. You can just click on that, and your Android Studio will get launched. If you install this thing on Ubuntu, then I guess you'll have to put some I guess extra effort. You'll have to just go to the your file manager where you have wherever you have installed this Android Studio. Just go there and just open that thing Android Studio. You will have to go to the bin folder, and you'll have to launch this studio.sh file. Okay, this is a bash script only, so you'll have to just launch this thing. So yeah, I have created a one you can say a very uh, short link, so I'll just go with that. So I'm just launching my Android Studio. So yeah, so this is a kind of welcome screen you will get, very first welcome screen. Here you will see all the you can say list you have opened previously, so you will see all the list. Then here we have a three buttons, new project. Of course, if you are going to create a project from a scratch, you can go with that. Then we have a open. You can, if you have already existed any project, then you can just click on that and then select that repository, and you can open that project also. Then we have a clone repository. You can clone repository from the GitHub. You had, I guess, nice session on GitHub last week only. So I'll go with the new project. So after clicking on that, you will in on the left side, you will get a five tabs. Okay, so in these five tabs, this for first tab is kind of telling you the phone and tablet. Then wearable. If you want to develop applications for a watch or something, then you can go with that. If you want to develop applications for a televisions and all these things, then you can go with that. Then automotive all these things, then you can like infotainment system and all these things, then you can go with this tab. So we will stick with the phone and tablet only. So these are the templates Android kind of gave you. Okay, inbuilt template you can say. So I have discussed that navigations view. Yeah, so navigations view I have discussed. So this is if you want you can say inbuilt navigations view template, then you can just go with that. If you want something like navigations drawer view, you can go with that. We will go with the empathy view activity. We will discuss all these things, what is activity, what is view, and all these things in detail, so don't worry about it. So after just selecting any type of template, this next button will be enabled, and just click on next. Here this tab is a called new project. Okay, so here Android is kind of asking couple of informations to you, like name, whatever name you wants to give to this, you can say Android applications, just give it. Okay, so I'll go with the, let's say, eYIC session, something, yeah, eYIC innovation session, something, yeah. Let's go innovation session, yeah. So you can give any type of name, whatever you want. Okay, so then we have a package name. So this package name globally should be unique. Okay, like if you want to publish this applications on Play Store, so your the Google, or of course Google or Play Store is going to recognize your applications as a unique, you can say, applications by using this package name only. Okay, so what usually people do, people usually do that, they just purchase domain name. Okay, like domain name like Amazon.com and Google.com, all these things are a domain name. So they just purchase domain name and then they just put the, you can say, upper domain class here and then lower domain class here, something like this, and then after one ID of yours. So this ID should be unique in your organization, so that there will be no two app which have a same, you can say, package name in your organization only. Yeah, so yeah, this is all about package. Then we have a save locations, where you want to save this, you can say, entire project. You can change the with you can change this thing. I'll go with the default only. Then we have a language, so whatever, what type of language you want to use, like Java, Kotlin, we have two options. I'll go with the Java only. And then we have a minimum SDK, so minimum software development kit. Okay, so let's say discuss this software development kit little bit in detail. So you can see a help me choose button here. Okay, so just click on this. You will get this button. Okay, you will get this window. So now in this window you will have three columns. Okay, Android platform versions. So these are the versions Android has released so far. So like KitKat, Lollipop, all these versions are very initial version, like 4.4 KitKat, API level 19, and all these things. Okay, then we have a API level. So each major changes Android has, you can say, uh, in Android kind of identify all those major changes using our integers. Okay, so we can say this is a ID of all the changes which Android till now did. Okay, so let's say we have a lollipop. Okay, so you can see, and then we have a one commutative distribution. So like if let's say we select a Knogout or something, Android API version 24, then we have a 98.6% number. Okay, so what does that mean? This means 98.6% of users, current, I mean, not users, you can say devices, currently running on either Android API level version, say 24 or upper version. Okay, so if you decided to choose this Android 7, okay, then all these devices, your applications will not be compatible with all these previous devices. Okay, like, and in this here, you can say this part of this section, you can right part of this section, you will see the all the major changes what Android did compared to the last version. Okay, like you will see in Marshmallow, Android has introduced this runtime permission management. Okay, so okay, what is runtime permission? What is permission first? So permission, let's say if your applications want to access some specific type of data, like gallery, photos, and any type of data like contact and all these things. So your applications have to, you can say, ask Android operating system to display one dialog for asking a permissions. Okay, I want to access your gallery access, something like this. And then once Google user will approve that access, then only your applications will get all those data. Okay, and what is runtime permission? So runtime permissions, while user using your applications, at that time only if you are asking these permissions, then this is a runtime permissions. But prior to that, like Lollipop and KitKat, what Android you can say do, if you have some, you can say, old you can say old version Android mobile phone. Okay, then you can find still you can check this thing. If you go to the Play Store and if you click on the install button, then you will get a one pop-up. Okay, these permissions will require these permissions. Okay, this permissions will require, okay, these applications will require these permissions. So just if you don't want to allow any permissions, then just don't install these applications. Okay, something like this. So this is this is called a runtime permissions, and that previous wala permissions which was currently we can say running on the KitKat and Lollipop is called kind of say a static permissions, you can say. So okay, so this is all about if you want to see all the documentations and all these things, what changes Android did, if, you can say compared to the previous version, you can go with the this URL. Yeah, yeah, so you can go with the this URL. So okay, so what I'll do, I'll just select the what Android you can say by default selected for me. I guess 98.6% devices is enough for me. You can select whatever you want. Then we have a build configurations language. Okay, so I'll go with the Groovy DSL. What is a DSL first? DSL is a domain specific language. What does that mean? Domain specific language means it is a very a small, you can say, language, very a small language, which is kind of built for a specific purpose. Like Groovy DSL, you can say Groovy is a language which built for you can say, writing a Gradle script and build a script in Android. So we will discuss this build, you can say, in detail our next slide. Okay. So now after that, just click on the finish button. Now you Android Studio will start building your applications. Okay. So yeah. Uh, Meanwhile, why not we discuss other things like we have a, you can say, one tab called Device Manager. You can create a emulator here. Okay. So what is the emulator and all these things? Emulators is the, you can say, virtual device. Okay, which try to mimic your hardware type of devices. So you can test your applications on a different types of devices. So why not let's create one virtual devices. So I'll go with the virtual device. You can select any of the you can say phone, any of the phone you can select, let's say, and let's say I'll go with a small phone only. Okay, next, and then you'll have to select the all the Google API. Just first select the Google API and you will get all those Android versions, which versions you want to go with. Okay, because I guess I have downloaded only Android 26 only, then I'll go with the Android 26, and then you can select those versions from here. Okay, these are the just architectures of the CPU. Okay, don't need to know about all these things. Okay, so after this, just you will have to just finish it, and this is a, you will get a one, you can say, virtual device here. Yeah, you can run that the virtual device by clicking on this button only. Okay, we will see all these things. Okay, so yeah, after building these applications, you can see all the build and all these things happen here only. Okay, so you can open, you can see that thing, downloaded something, or yeah. So yeah, now we have a two folders we kind of got here. So the very first folders is the app, and then the second folder is a Gradle script. Yeah, so let's first get into the applications folder. Then we have in applications folder we have a three folders. Let's first get into the Android manifest folder. Okay, so in this Android manifest, this is the top level, you can say, configurations file in Android. Okay, so which is kind of written in XML only. So we have a, okay, so these two lines in this entire XML file is going to decide your what type of schema this Android manifest file is going to accept. So I cannot write like a tag like a XYZ. Okay, so I cannot write that thing. That thing is not defined in schema, so I cannot write that thing. So these two lines are responsible for that. Then we have a one applications tab. Okay, so here, and okay, before going to applications tab, let's discuss something important. We have a user permission. I have already talked about permissions. What is permissions? So there is a one tag called user permissions. Okay, so you can, after just writing that user permissions, you can see you can how these many types of permissions you can get from users. Okay, like you have a, you can search that thing, you have a camera permissions, all these permissions. So whatever permissions you kind of want to get from users, you'll have to define all the permissions here Android manifest file. So this is, you can say, any major thing if you kind of do in the Android operating in your applications, then this is the kind of considered as a Janam Kundli. You'll have to register all those things here. Okay, so if you, so this is all about user permissions. Okay, then we have a one applications tag here. Okay, so in this applications tag, like we have a one activity. So these are the components. Just consider component for now as a black box. Okay, we will discuss these components and these things in details. So consider this. So as I already said, any major things if you are going to do in your Android applications, then you'll have to register those things. So whatever, how any component we will create in future, we are going to register those components here only. Apart from that, we have a like labels. Okay, so this is a your app name. Okay, so like if you will go to the resource file and if you go to the value, then you will find this colors and strings. Okay, so this is not very unique to, you can say, Android applications. In Android, in software, you can say in software world, we generally follow this practice. If you don't want to spoil your code, entire code, by just hard coding something into inside your code, what instead of hard coding something inside your code, what you'll do, you'll just you can say create a configurations file, and then just define all the string, all the hard coded string there, and then keep the reference, then take the reference of all those hard coded string into your, you can say, entire project. So something like this. So if you want to define any type of string, this is the string.xml configurations file you will get. If you want to define any type of color, this is color.xml you will get. You'll just define that color and then take the reference of those colors into your, you can say, main activity, something like this. Okay, so if you want to change your application's name, you can change your application's name from here only. Okay, let's say, yeah, so you can you just change that your application's name from here. So now we have icons, like IC launchers icons. Okay, why we are seeing these, you can say, six icons, five icons or something. We will discuss all these things in detail. Then we have a round icons. Round icons, I can see Android has introduced for its own pixel devices. So you can remove this round icon, but if any device which kind of support only round icons, then what is Android system will do, Android just put a mask over your icon, so maybe your icon might look ugly. So you can remove, but you should not remove this thing. Yeah, so then we have this support RTL. Okay, this support RTL means right to left layout you are supporting or not. Like a lot of languages kind of with support right to left, like Urdu language, which is kind of support right to left. You can just provide true or false, something like this. Then we have a theme. Okay, so theme, Android has I guess just given to you these two themes, inbuilt theme. These are the parent classes of those themes. Okay, just extending these themes from the parent classes. So I'm not going to go deep into this, okay, due to time constraint. So then we have all these things, backups rules. Yeah, so like this is the extractions backup rules. If you just click on it, you can find all these two files here only, XML. Okay, so what does this define? This is a, okay, so let's go to the data extractions rule. Okay, so we have a two tags here. We have a tags like cloud backups. If you want your cloud backup, do your cloud backups or something on a specific time, then you can include all the files, exclude all the files. So all these things will go here. If you want to this device transfer, I guess Google has introduced, if I'm not wrong, in Android 12 only. Okay, so prior to this data extractions rule, we used to use this backup rule. Okay, so still this backup rule is kind of supported. Okay, for a lower Android version. Lower Android version means less, you can say, prior to the 12 version. Okay, so that's why we have a two you can say backup files here. Okay, and then you can do allow backup true or false, whatever you want. So yeah, this is, I hope this Android manifest file will get cleared, kind of get clear to you. Okay, now let's go to the Java folders. So in Java folders, we have a three, you can say, again, a folder, so package. In this package, like these two packages are meant to testing your Android applications. Like this is the you can say folders where you will write all the test cases which you are going to test on your Android device. Okay, and this is the you can say folder. This is the, you can say, file you are going to write all the test cases which you are going to test on your development environment. Okay, like this system I'm going to test. Okay, so, and this is the main thing. We have a main activity, this main activity dot java. Okay, so I guess we can remove these things to just uh, look little simple this thing. So yeah, so this is how our activity kind of looks like. We will discuss activity, and this class, just consider this thing as a class. Okay, so this class is kind of referencing, currently referencing to the activity main. If you just click on it by pressing control, then you will just go to the activity main.xml file. You will find this activity main.xml file inside this resource and layout file also, layout folder also. So just by clicking on this, you will open this type of window. Okay, so In this window you will find the all the you can do all the UI related things, like you will have different types of text buttons. You can just drag and drop those text button. We have buttons, so you can just drag and drop those buttons. So let's drag and drop one buttons. Okay, so okay, let's attach this string to now. For now, consider this thing as a you can say linked list or something. Which this is a button, this is a view. Okay, this is a kind of keeping a reference of all those you can say four you can say these points. Okay, so consider this thing as a linked list for now. Okay, and just I attached all the nodes, okay, to the different views. So I attached this node from the bottom of this hello world nodes. Okay, I attached this node, this right side node to the parent itself. I attached this bottom node to parent itself. I attached this left side node to parent itself, something like this. So yeah, so we kind of if you see on the top right side, then you will get three buttons here. Okay, you kind of get three buttons. So uh, just click on the middle wala button. You will get things like one side you will have a code, and other side you will have a preview of this code. Okay, you can just minimize that thing. So yeah, so like I have just drag and drop this button, drag and drop this button. I'll get code, I'll get code automatically. Okay, and by the ID this button. Okay, this is the ID of this entire button. So why not we just take a reference of this ID into our main activity. Okay, so let's do it. I am just going to keep this thing as a global, you can say. I'm just going to create this button as a global you can say variable. So you can see all button we have a class. If I'll see the text view, so all these things are, this is also a class. Okay, so if you'll go to the main activity, you will find this is the text view. Okay, if you'll just click on if you'll click on this by pressing the control, you will get transferred into the text view.java. So this is nothing but a at the end when you compile your applications, this all things, this all XML kind of get you can say inflated into these codes only. Okay, so yeah, so we have a you can say Java class for all types of view means all like text view, all these types of UI element is the you can say child of view only. Okay, so like button, if we want to keep a reference, then I'll go with the button. So I'll just create that thing, and then let's say I'm just writing one method to keep our code little concise or something. So public void, and then we have a init. Okay, so I'm just going to use this method for initializing everything. So I'll have a button. So button is equals to, then this app compact activity view got one static method called find view by id. Okay, so you can just call that method, and this is kind of taking a integers. Okay, so integers is id only. So if I r dot id dot button, so this is the reference. Okay, I am kind of storing it. This button is going to hold the reference of this button only, this UI element. Okay, now what we can do now, just take the reference of that button which we have declared, and now we have a lot of method in this. Okay, like add foxable and all these things like so we will try with the set on click listener only. So this is a set on click listener method. Of course this is a you can say a static method only. Then in this we have a one on click listener interface. Okay, so let's see that thing. So view dot on click listener, so I am just going to implement that thing. So what is this is a callback method. When user will click that you can say button, what will happen, that instance, what is the android system will do, just android system will invoke this a specific method, this a specific callback method. Okay, and if I want to do something on click of that button, then I'll have to override that on click method. Okay, so android has defined this view dot on click listener. This is the you can say on click listener is the interface which has a this method on click method. Okay, so what we can do here, we can show a toast message. What is a toast message? This is a you can say considered as a you can say pop-up which we can see, we will see in I guess in live only. So toast method, this toast method has a one you can say a static method which is called make text, and then we'll have to pass this main activity dot, this is a nothing but a reference of this entire class, reference of this entire activity. So main activity this, and then let's say we said we have built our first applications. app, something like this. Okay, and yeah, so now we can run this application. So we have already created an emulator, and you can say I taught you to create an emulator. So how you can create your emulators? So just I am going to select this emulator on the Android phone API 36. So by clicking this button, you can run this applications on that emulator. So let's see. Now Android started building your applications. Yeah, it get built. Now it is kind of waiting for your this emulators to come online. Okay, meanwhile, why not we discuss some other things like logcat? If you are, I mean, this logging and all these things we kind of use for debugging our applications. Okay, so you can provide a filters. If you do logging, we will discuss all these loggings in detail. Okay, so here our applications will get launched, and once I click on this button, okay, we will see you this pop up. Okay, yeah, we have built our first application. This is a toast we say in Android. Okay, so now I guess hope this Android tours, you can say you enjoy this Android tour. Okay, now let's come back to our slides only. So now these are the three pillars of Android applications we have. We can say a component also. These are the three components we have, like activity, broadcast, receiver, subissues. What is the component we are considering here? So you can consider component as a, you can say, building blocks of your entire Android applications. Okay, so and I have already mentioned, if you do any major thing, okay, in your Android applications, you will have to declare all these things in your Android manifest file. So this is a kind of your, you can say, janam kundli of your entire Android application. Okay, so let's discuss activity. So what is activity? So activity you can consider as a one activity is equals to one window on the screen. Okay, that's it. And like we can say activity is you can say class is a crucial component in the Android applications. Like you can say a lot of languages which have a main method. Okay, so main method will be, we can say, kind of entry point of that specific language. So that is how this thing like activity is also a main method for this entire applications. Okay, so like this, we have a activity main.xml file. I already show you that thing. What? One sec, let me check. Yeah, so where we were, okay, so here only. Yeah, so activity main.xml. Yeah, so what is the control? Let's say I have defined this button. If I want to do something on click of this, then all these things will be, you can say, kind of handled by this activity, this main activity class only. Okay, so this is a kind of act as a controller for each and every view, each and everything with whatever things we are going to do in this you can say this activity main.xml view. Yeah, so yeah, so activity has its own life cycle. What is a life cycle? Means when you created one activity, okay, and when it destroy, you can say when it will get destroyed, and in between all the process and all these things, like Android, what Android system what do usually Android system on a specific instance, and Android system invoke the specific method, a specific callback method. So if you want to do something on that a specific instance, you can do. So like if like this is the on create method, okay, this is the start of this activity launch only. So this activity is kind of act as a main method of this entire, you can say, applications. And inside this activity main, okay, this on create kind of act as a, you can say, opening point of your entire activity. So then we have a on start, on resume. If you want to do something on resume, okay, this method you can override this method and just do whatever you want to do. Then on pause, on a stop, on destroy, if you want to clear all the, you can say, reference which you are keeping on your memory, you can do that thing. Okay, so we will discuss all activity lifecycle in detail. We will do on demo on this. Okay, so we will do this thing in, you can say, future slides. Then we have a intent. So before you can say do a live demo of this life cycle, we will go with the intent. Okay, so we have a intent. So what is intent? So intent is a simple class, just a simple Java class in, you can say, Android applications. What is the use of intent? So we kind of say this intent as a gateway. So if you want to launch any type of components, I have already discussed this activity component. You can, if you if you want to launch this receiver component also, you can go with this. You can just launch with using intent. Okay. If you want to launch services, you can launch with using intent. So this is a gateway of launching any type of component. We also say this thing a messaging object. Why we say this messaging object? Because you can communicate, you can say, all the component. Okay, if we all the components wants to communicate with each other, so they are going to use this intent only. So that's why we say, we also call this messaging object. This is a central of this is a central of communication. So if you want to, if your applications want to communicate with the other applications, okay, then you, this thing also you'll do with intent only. Of course, Android operating system will act as a, you can say, mediator here. And also, if Android operating system wants to communicate with your Android applications, Android operating system also will have to use intent only. So we have a two types of intents we have. First one is the explicit intent. Explicit intent aims directly at a specific components by specifying its class name or package name, which means just if you want to launch one activity, launch a services, you can do this thing. In simple word, you can use this explicit intent in your project only. Okay, if you want to launch, let's say, just see this code. We have created the instance of this class. So we have a class, okay, called intent. So we have created using new keyword, new intent. Now currently we are present in the current activity dot this. Okay, this is just a reference of address, you can say, address of your current activity. And then we have a target activity dot class. Okay, this is a, we have a target activity dot class. Why we are using? Because this is a, you can say, reflection thing. I don't want to get into these things, but yeah, so this is a target activity dot class. So what will happen, and once you just you can say invoke this method, a start activity, and you will pass this intent, what will happen? You will just, your applications will go from the current activity to target activity. Okay, why not we just see this thing into our applications? So okay, we will create another activity. So just click on, right click on this package name. Okay, you will find a one tab called new. So just click on new, just hover on new, then you will find this tab. And here only you will have a one activity. Okay, you can create a folders, fragments, and all these things. So but we will stick with the activity, and we will go with the empty activity only. Keep all these things same, and just click on the finish button. After clicking on a finish button, Android has started building the your activity. And after completions of build, then you will get a one activity class also, and you will get a one activity main.to XML file. Okay, then in let's say let's drag and drop one text here, the text view only. Okay, just shit. Just do that our little thing. We will discuss this constant layout in detail in our coming slides. For now, just I have already said, just consider this thing as a linked list. So this is a text view. Just say I am a main activity 2. Okay, main activity 2. Okay, just say this thing in here, and then we have our one main activity. So what we will do, we will just on just click of this button. What I'll do, I'll just create a one intent. So we have a intent class which is present in this package android.content. So intent, and then I'll just say this thing intent, and then I'll just create an intent of this entire thing, just initialize this intent. You can see a different types of method. We have different type of parameters this intent kind of take. We have a one actions URI. We are going to use this method context package context, and then we are going to give this reflections of this next class only. So first of all, let's do this thing main activity dot this is the address of this main activity. Okay, this is a reference of this main activity, and then where I want to go main activity 2. So I'll just give the main activity 2 dot class. Okay, and then I'll say that there is a one static method. We have a start activity. I'm just going to say that pass this. I'm just going to pass this intent into that start activity method. Okay, now I'll just remove this thing toast message. Okay, so now again just run this your applications. Your applications will get you can say again loaded into your this device. Then click on this button. Yeah, you just come to the main activity 2. If you can, if you're able to see this thing, you'll just come here to the main activity 2. Yeah, just let's go back. Yeah, this is a hello man activity. Yeah, so yeah, then we have an implicit intent. So if you want to do more general operations, you can do using this. You if you are kind of using an Android, you can say Android operating system, and if you click on any URL or something anywhere, if you click on any URL, then okay, if you click on any URL, then what will happen if you haven't selected any browser? If you have a multiple browser and you haven't selected that any browser as a default browser, then Android will show you one pop-up, okay, with all the browser you can say listed on that pop-up. You can choose that any browser, and this you want wherever you want to load this URL. Okay, so this type of operations you kind of consider as an implicit intent. Okay, like opening a URL, opening a image. If I want to open this image, we have two types of gallery. Okay, so any applications can register for listening those things. If any users wants to open that image, then I am also my applications is also going to listen that thing. Okay, so Android is going to just show you that your applications Android is going to also show you on that pop-up. So this is a kind of you can say this type of implicit intent. Okay, so yeah, so we will discuss this implicit intent in our next slide. Now this is the activity lifecycle. So why not we just implement this activity lifecycle into our Android applications, and then we will see our you can say entire thing, okay, how any activity get created and it get destroyed. Okay, so let's do it. So what we'll do, this is a on create method. This is how we can say various start of this. So we have a one class called log for writing a log. So log.util. I'll just hit we can say, then you'll invoke that info I all these things are the static method we have. So then after, just let's say I'll just going to give this tag, because we'll have to find using this tag only. We'll have to find this we can say log by using this tag only, and I'll just write this thing as a on create. Okay, now just come outside of this on create method. Okay, and click control O. Okay, you will find a pop-up, you will get a pop-up, and you will find these many methods you can override. Okay, these many methods you can override from this from the you can say this app compact activity. So we will search first I guess on a start we will have, on a stop we will have, on a start, on destroy we will have, uh, then on pause, on resume. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, not sure. So these are the methods we have overridden, like on a start, on a stop, on destroy, on pause. I guess on a start also will. we should override. So let's search on a start here also. This is a on restart also. On a start, I guess we already have override. Yeah. So on a start we also get. So on a start also. Now just copy paste this log and then paste everywhere. Uh, then I'm just going to change this name here, like on resume, then on resume, on pouch, then message. Oh, sorry, message on destroy, then on destroy, was on a stop, non stop. Okay, on a start. Now we quickly copy this entire thing and paste the same thing. Okay, also I'll have to say that this is activity 1 or activity 2 or not. Okay, so and this is A1, and I'll say, okay, A1, and I'll just copy and paste here. A1 pause, A1 destroy, A1 stop. Once you will get understand all these things, like what is the life cycle and all these things, uh, then all the development and all these things will become very easier. So that's why I am focusing on this thing, you can say, in a deep way. So main activity, just go to the main activity 2 and then paste entire thing here only, and then just I'll have to replace this A1 with the A2. So let's replace this thing A2. Yeah. So replace all. Yeah. And also I'll have to put here like yeah. And this is the on create. Yeah. So now run this entire you can say entire applications again. So any changes if you do, and if you want to see those changes on your of course device, then you'll have to run every time. So just by clicking on this, I'll just started running this application. I'll come, you can say building this application, and it will get run here only. So let's open the logcat, and in logcat you will see two tabs. The very first tab, you will, if you have you can say multiple emulators online, then you can select which emulators you want to, you can say, see a log of it, and then you can put a filter here. So like I have a one filter called tag. Okay, so in tag I'm just going to give you this life cycle wala thing, this life cycle. So this life cycle, yeah, this. So once this applications get launched now, you will see this three method will get invoked. On create, this was the first method where application, they were activity kind of, this is the opening point of activity. So on create will get invoked, on a start will get invoked, this is the second method we get, and then we have a on resume method. Okay, so these three methods will get invoked. Okay, now let's go to the second activity. Once I click on this button, what happened, what happened here, just a1 actually first activity kind of got into on pause active, on pause, you can say, a state. Okay, then the second activity, just a2 activity active, you can say, get started getting created, and then we have a2, which is a kind of a start, this invoke this a start method, then we have a on resume method will get invoked. Okay, and finally this this a1 activity kind of get you can say will get a stop or something. Okay, so kind of get a stop. So yeah, now we can, what we can do, we can just go back to the previous activity. You will see something. Okay, so what Android is doing, if we go to the next activity, what Android is doing, Android is maintaining a stack. Okay, in this stack, Android first put first activity, then you can say go back, go to the second activity, then Android put that second activity. Okay, so now if I'll click on the back button, then Android just pop that main activity to whatever the top activity you got. So main activity is going to main activity 2 is going to pop. Okay, so just go back to the previous activity. So yeah, so I go back to the previous activity. What happened? A2 invoke just on restart method. You are saying E2 just invoke on restart mapping because it is present, it can, because it is present on the stack. So that's why it does not invoke on destroy method. Destroy means your activity kind of got destroyed. Okay, so on a stop, it just even invoke that on restart method, then again on a start method, and then E2 invoke that on pause method. So E2 just bend to the on, you can say in pause state, and then A1 invoke this on resume method. So A1 kind of, you can say, now is in foreground. Okay, so now is in foreground. So then A1 invoke that on resume method, and A2 just invoke on a stop, and then after on destroy, because it is not present in a stack anymore. Okay, so this is a kind of life cycle overview you kind of get. Okay, got. So yeah, so yeah, I have discussed, I guess, entire thing. Press on now. Yeah, I have discussed entire thing. So activity, I hope this entire activity life cycle, you can say, got clear to you. Now we have a intent filter. Okay, so let's consider one analogy. So you have a, you can say, one house. Just consider house as a one your entire applications. In this house you have a different rooms, okay, in that house, and each room has a, you can say, a gate. Okay, each room has its own gate. So room is behind that, you can say, door behind that gate. the, this entire thing is considered as a component. Okay, so each room you just consider this as a component, like activity, services, broadcasting, anything that components can could be. Yeah, so intent, what is intent? Intent is a person who is knocking on the door. Ki, hey, I want to, I have something, I request something to you, just do this thing. Like hey, main activity 2, I want to launch you. Okay, something like this. And then we have a one filter called intent filter. This is a thing called intent filter. What this is, you can say, in each gate we have a door label signboard, which is telling ki who is allowed inside this activity, who is allowed inside to invoke this broadcasting, who is allowed to invoke this services. Okay, so in simple word we can say is the intent filters declares what kind of intent a component is willing to accept. Okay, so like if we go back to the previous slide, like this is the thing, this is the action view, this is the, you can say, intent. You can consider this as an intent filter. Okay, you can consider this as an intent filter. So yeah, like if we go back to the our, you can say, applications, you will see this in environment manifest. We have a one intent filter tag. Okay, we have a one intent filter tag. What this intent filter means? This intent filter means this is a actions, this is actions means actions means this is the main, you can say, functions where applications should start. This is the main thing where applications is where your applications is going to start. Okay, and then we have a category. So we have a different types of category, like if you are not going to provide this category, Android is going to consider this as a default category. Like if you want to launch one, you can say, URL or something, if you click on the one URL, okay, then you will get a pop-up of all the screen or some all the browsers, okay, in which browsers you want to open that URL. So if you have selected that any default browser, okay, this is my default browser, then Android is going to directly launch your URL into that browser by default. Okay, so this is the category of launchers. So what these intent filters is going to kind of decide, this intent filters kind of make, okay, they make this activity as a launcher activity. So this, when Android, then user will click on that your app icon. Okay, then Android applications will, then Android system is going to search for this intent filter, which you can say room has these labels, which room, you can say, room's door has these labels. If Android will file these labels on this activity 1, then this activity 1 will get launched. If I'll just copy this activity, this intent filter to the activity 2 and paste it in the inside that activity 2, then that activity 2 will become as a, you can say, launcher activity. So this is a intent filter. I hope this intent filter also got cleared. Now let's come to the UI part of this entire Android. Okay, so we have a density independent pixels. Okay, so why Android decided to build its own unit of measurement? Why Android did not, we can say, decide to stick with the pixels as a unit of measurement. Okay, the problem we were facing here is कि Android devices not only have a different screen size but also have a different pixel density. Okay, what does it mean? We will discuss this thing. Android has divided all the, you can say, all the Android screen, okay, into the 6 classes, okay, based on the DPI, which is called pixels per inch. Okay, so pixels per inch means pixels, or you can consider dot per inch. So pixels per inch means what? In 1 inch, how many pixels your Android, your Android, you can say, a screen get, yeah. So like if your Android screen get 120 pixels, then we will consider that Android screen as a LDPI. If Android screen get 160 pixels, then we will consider that Android screen as a MDPI. So these are the classes Android has defined, predefined classes. These are okay. So yeah, so what was the problem? Let's say you, if we are going to stick with the, you can say, this pixel only. You can use this pixel, you can say, in your application. But if let's say we want to show one image inside our Android applications, okay, so we have defined this image width as 100 pixels, and we have defined this image height as 100 pixels. Okay, so this image kind of looks like in a MDPI, you can say, a screen, something like this, and the same image get translated into, we can say, the same image you will see in XX SDPI, something like this, because density, because we got more pixels in this XS SDPI. Okay, we got almost XS SDPI as a 480 pixels, okay, in 1 inch. Yeah, so this same image kind of looks like, you can say, in this way, okay, on a different screen density. So what Android did, Android, you can say, introduced its own, you can say, unit of measurement, which we call DP, you can say, density independent pixel. Okay, how Android just translated this thing, how Android translated your DP into pixels. So this is the base. So MDPI, Android is considering this thing as a baseline. So if 1 DP is equals to 1 pixel here, in, if we are going to consider this SDPI, then 1 DP is equals to 1.5 pixels in this SDPI screen. If we are going to consider this XSDPI or something, then this 1 pixels get converted into the 1 DP get converted into the 2 pixels. Okay, you can just convert the you can say DP into the pixels using this formula only. Yeah. So after using DP, now let's say we have a same two devices, MDPI and XXSDPI, and we are going to use this time DP only. Okay, so 100 DP I have provided the width, 100 DP I have provided the height, okay, of this image, same image. So now 100 DP in the, you can say, background, this 100 DP, 100 cross 100 DP get, you can say, translated into the 100 pixels into the 100 pixels. But in the XXS DPI, this 100 DP cross 100 DP get translated into the 300 pixels into the 300 pixels. Okay, so this is how both the image kind of looks, you can say, very similar on the across all type of different density of a screen. Yeah, okay, now hope this DP and all these things get clear. Now let's go to the essential layouts and UI visits. Okay, so I am not going to discuss this thing in very you can say, in very detail. First, let's discuss this linear layout. If you want to some sequential arrangement in your, you can say, view, like if you want something which is very vertical separable, horizontal separable, and all these things, then you can go with the linear layout. Okay, this is of course a simple to implement and efficient. But the problem this linear layout was having, that if you kind of build a very very nested UI, like then inside, then behind the scene, what Android kind of do, Android just converted all these UI, you can say, layer as Android just you can say kind of treat that entire UI thing as a tree. Okay, as a tree. So this is the parent class, this is the parent class, this parent class got two child, and then this child kind of act as a parent class of these two nested view, something like this. Okay, so when you kind of build a complex UI or something, then it the rendering and all these things become very hard, because you can say this solver, layout solver, which is you can say layout solver we have in Android. So these layout solvers will have to, you can say, walk you can say again and again on a tree to finding a positions of a specific view. Yeah, something like that. Then Android, after I guess Android in 5 or something, Android has introduced this constant layout, okay, which kind of gives you a flexible positioning system. Each view has a reference, you can say 4 reference. Each view has a 4 reference. Top reference, so he's going to that view is going to store that I am kind of keeping a reference of this view, I am attached with this view, so I'm going to keep reference of this view, so I am relative to this view. So wherever this view will be, I'm just relative to this view only. Then with view, Android has introduced all the 4 node point also, okay. So all the 4 node point kind of give you the, you can say, address like thing, okay. So it is a kind of flat hierarchy, because we are going to consider one as a constant layout as a, you can say, entire parent, and then inside that constant layout we are going to define all other types of view, okay. So it's kind of support a responsive design capability. Of course, it support responsive design and all this thing. It is a flat view hierarchy, I already discussed. Now common widget, already had shown you all those common widgets and button and text view and all these things, okay. Let's discuss little bit more these common widgets. So I am presenting my screen or not? Yeah. Yeah. So like we have a buttons, I have already discussed. We have a widgets, okay. So if you want to say, let's say, for now let's minimize this thing and also click on this. So for now, for if you want to show in one image or something, you can just drag and drop this image view. If you want to load some URL inside your applications, then you can drag and drop web view, video view, calendar view. You have a lot of views here, okay. Seek bar, progress bar, a lot of things you have here. You can explore by yourself only. So yeah, now this is the core of our entire this session. This is the observer patterns, okay. So this observer patterns is the software design patterns, okay. In this observer patterns, we generally have a two types of thing, like one is the observable and second thing is the observer. So observable like have some type of data. Let's consider observable have an integer or something, okay. So if we have a different observer also, so if those observers wants to, you can say, listen those data, you can say data which is inside this observable class, okay, then those observer have to register themselves for listening those data, okay. If any changes happens in this data now, then all those observers should be notified, okay. So let's see the implementations of this. I have created a, you can say, implementations of this beforehand. So let's see the implementations of this. So this is the observer patterns I have created. So in this I have two things like observable and then observer. In this observable, if I have created this observable as a, you can say, interface, okay. So if you go here, we will have a we kind of have an interface of this observable. And in this inside in this observable we have a different methods we can override. So we only I only define this method like register. So register, so I guess if any observer want to listen these, you can say, changes in the data, then I am going to ask, okay, just provide the reference of that observer, I'll register that observer. Then we have a remove, and then we have a mode notify. So this notify will get called once any changes will happen, okay. So this set data is responsible for calling this notify method, okay. So and then we have a get data, simple thing. And then we have a one observer interface also, where we have defined that one method which is called update, okay. Now let's go to the integer observable class. So I have created one concrete implementations of this concrete implementation of this integer observable. So I'll have to implement this observable interface which I have defined and which I have already defined. So this observable interface, this integer observable will have a list of observer, okay. So I just initialize that list of observable using new array list or something. This is a Java. This is a very specific to Java. You can, if you are going to use Kotlin or something, you can initialize this thing by using any method, by using, I guess, whatever Kotlin has provided to you. Then we have a private integers. This integers we want to, you can say, all the observer wants to listen, okay. So if any changes you can say happens on this integers, so all the observer want to listen this change, you can say changes only, okay. So this is it is a kind of pub sub model, you can say. So we have a one register like observer. So just provide the observer reference, and it will just this will just push this observer into this list of this observer. Okay. Then we have a remove. Just remove that thing. We have a notify. So notify, what will do? It will just iterate over this list of observer. Okay. And then invoke this callback method. This update. Okay. So invoke this callback method. Okay, invoke this callback method. Then we have a one method called set method. If you notice one thing, I have defined this integers as a private, so nobody can access outside of this class. Okay. So I open this. You can say if you want to update this data, if you want to update this integer, you will have to invoke this method. So this is the set method. We have integers data. If this data is not equals to this data, this dot data. So this data, if we are getting the data, whatever we are getting from the, you can say using set method, and if this is not equals to this, then I'll just update that method, and I'll just call this notifies method. This notify method just iterate over that list of the observer and then invoke this method. Okay. And then we have a get method. Now let's create a observer, so couple of observer classes. So we have this first observer, which of course implement this observer class, and this observer class we are going to say this observable. Okay. So this is the called dependency injections. Okay. If you kind of know about that, this is a called dependency injection. This is a basic solid principles which software engineer kind of follow. So this is a dependency injection. We, instead of keeping a concrete classes, a reference of concrete classes here, I'm going to keep a, you can say, reference of interfaces, so that I can exchange those concrete classes anytime. Okay. So I am doing a constructor dependency injections here. Okay. Then we have a this method, and this method I have print that thing. Yeah, I also received that I just received that updated data successfully, and what data get updated. Okay. And then we have a second observer in the same way. Now come to the main method. What I'll do is just I'll initialize this integers observer variable here. Okay. And then we just create the different observer here. Okay. And then I just register those observers to the that integers observable, and then I try to just change this, you can say, data. So I first set that this data is 21, and then after I'll just update that data 21. Let's see all the observable which kind of register themselves to listen those changes will get notified or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on run. Okay. After clicking on run, you will see these outputs. Okay. So I have just, so first thing, I just this data gets set to the 21. I just received those data. So these are the four observer we have registered. So these four observers said, yeah, I just received that data. After that, I just changed that thing to the, you can say, 11. That 21, I just changed that thing to the 11. Then I then again that all the, you can say, observer of all the observer kind of get notified. Yeah, that data now get changed to the 11. So this is a very important patterns. Okay, this is a very important pattern. So hope this patterns get clear to you. Now let's get into the next slide, which is the MVVM architectures. Okay, so now just extend this uh, observer patterns to the MVVM architectures. Now just extend this thing. So beforehand I have created one repository. Okay, so repository like just I am just, because I have a data which we want to observe as an integer, so I'm just returning this data integers, and we have a one method in this interface is a get. Okay. Then I have created a, you can say, concrete classes, two type of concrete classes. Like first one is the database repo. So let's say I want to get this data from the cloud, so all the, you can say, code and all the logic will go here, and the last I'm just kind of updating those data, I'm just returning those data. Yeah. Then we have a test repo also. If we want to test our with the dummy data or something, then we are going to just create a one, you can say, test demo concrete classes, and we will implement that repository into it, and then we will invoke the same method. Yeah. So something like this. So this is also a very great example of you can say dependency injections. Yeah. So this is the repository we have, and then we have our first observer and then second observer. Now let's go to the integer observer. We will have to do some changes. Now we are not going to get this data from the, you can say, interface and set data. We will get this data from the repository which we have created. Okay. So for that, let's I'll say this private, and then we'll again we are going to keep here reference of interface, not the concrete classes. then just define the repository, and I'm just going to you can say define a constructor of this integers observable, and I'll pass that you can say repository as a repo. Okay, and then I'll say that this thought repository is equals to just assign this repo only to this repository. Okay, and I'm just initializing this repo. Okay, so then what we will do, just I'll just copy this thing here, and instead of calling this thing, what we will do, we will say this dot repository. Yeah, this dot repository, we got one method in this repository, get. Okay, and I'll just store this thing as an integer or something, let's say, and I'll just update this thing. Okay, I'll just update this. We can do this thing, I guess, one line. But yeah, we will just update this thing. So this dot data, okay, is equals to I, and now we will just invoke that notify method. Yeah, to just notify that thing, that data got changed, something like this. Yeah. So why we are getting this error? Yeah, because we will have to change this thing in the interface also. So just go ahead and change this thing. Now come to the main. Okay, in this main I'll have to pass that repository class. So repository, concrete repository, you can say instance of it. So I'm just going to say that repository, let's say this is the repository, and then we got a one, what we say, let's say database repository. So I am currently getting a data from, let's say, cloud. Yeah, and then I'll pass this interface, this you can second instance here only, repository here only, in the integer observable. Now, yeah, now instead of changing this thing, I'll just invoke that thing. Yeah, just invoke integers dot set data. Okay, so now let's try to run this thing again. Now let's see if all the, you can say, observer will get notified or not. So yeah, you can see I have updated that successfully. So I have all received that updated data successfully. Three, you can say, is that data. Yeah. So all the observer kind of get notified. So this is the kind of, we have a repository. So we have a two things, view and view models. So we already had discussed view and view models. This is a, you can consider as a observer. So this view wants to observe any changes happens on data, then that view is going to update itself. Okay, and then this is a view model. You can consider this is a observable class, integer observable class. This view model has a one live, you can say, live data class which Android has provided to you. So which is a life cycle aware. Okay, so this is a life cycle awareness. This is the main thing. So this is the main, you can say, we can implement this observer patterns by our by, you can say, by ourselves only. But the main, you can say, we will have to, the main difference between this observer patterns which we have implemented at this MVVM architectures with, and which Android has provided, is the life cycle. So it is a life cycle aware. When any activity get created, then I'm not going to invoke any you can say changes. If let's say one, we have a activity one, and that activity has a one data, okay, called let's say data, that's it, that data. Okay, and that activity kind of is not in foreground. Okay, so that activity is, you can say, invoke that on destroy method or something. Okay, so now if any changes happen, somehow any changes happen on that data, then if this if this these MVVM architectures is going to, if we will implement, we kind of implement that, if we kind of implement this MVVM architectures, then what happened, because we don't have a reference of that activity one. Okay, so if we are going to invoke that data, then we will get a null pointer exception. So that is the point. So this MVVM architectures is the, we can say, is the life cycle aware architectures. Yeah, now this is the, you can see, understand this entire thing using a one diagram. So I have created one repository interface. You should always consider to create this interface or abstract class, so that if you will have a, you can say, some other source of getting data, you can just extend you can just implement this class and just override that method. Okay, then we have a view model. View model is responsible for, you can say, a view model will act as a mediator. This is a, you can say, observable, which we have discussed. Yeah, So it is a kind of act as a mediator between view and the data. So if any changes happens in this, you can say any changes happens on the data which we have, you can say, observing in the view models, then all those data, you can say, then will get, all the view will get notified who can kind of register themselves to listen those data. Okay. So yeah, now let's go ahead and build this applications which we have created. So yeah, this is the applications we have created. If you click on this button, then you will get a, you can say, your this menu. Then we will have one tab. We have one tab called build. Just go ahead and click on, you can see that thing, generate app bundles or apk. You can just click on this generate apk. It will get generate, and you can share this apk with your friends or something. Yeah, I have created our very first application. We have a, if you want to upload these applications on play store or something, then you can just click on the generate signed apk. This will, you can say, ask a lot of things to you. You can go with and explore all these things by yourself only. Okay. So yeah, so yeah, so this is all about build. And then what we have covered till now, we have covered till now activity, how to components do communications, how we can launch any components, dpi, what is a dependent, you can, density dependent, independent pixels. Okay, independent pixels. And then we have discussed some importance, layouts and budget. Then observer patterns we have discussed. This was the core of entire this session. And then MVVM architectures and last essential topics which I haven't covered. If you want to explore this Android, you can say, in more details, then you can go through all these topics: fragments, navigations, recycle view, view winding, permissions, data persistence, and broadcasting. Like fragments is the kind of, you can consider as the lightweight activity. Okay, so you can host as many fragment as you want in one activity. This navigations class we also have. So Android has introduced, I guess, this navigations in Google I/O in 2019 to make navigations, you can say, easy between the fragments. Okay, so we generally don't you can say, create a lot of activities, because a lot of activity is a very heavy component Android has. So we, instead of creating a lot of activity, we kind of create fragments. Okay, then we have a recycle view. You should explore this, a very, you can say, good thing, I guess, in Android. Okay, you will get to know how Android optimize his all the list type of data. Okay, then view winding. So if you want to get rid of that r.id dot something, then you should explore this view winding. Then permissions we have, I have discussed little bit permissions, but you'll have to explore these permissions by yourself also, how you can invoke all those callbacks method, how we can do, you can say, how I can, you can show the, you can say, the dialogue and all these things you will have to go through. Data persistent, I haven't covered any type of related to the, you can say, data or something. Like we have a shared preferences. If you want to you can say, store some token or something, sensitive token, then you can go with that shared preferences, encrypted shared preferences you should go with. Okay, and also I haven't covered that private folders, public folders and all these things. Okay, broadcaster receivers, I just told you about this little bit. And then services, I just told you about this, I haven't covered in deep due to the time constraint and all these things. Now yeah, so you are now ready to build amazing applications. I guess you can explore implementations of MVVM architectures by yourself only. And you should create your own MVVM project today only itself. And yeah, so now questions and discussions. So yeah, if you will have any questions or something, then you can ask. So mm, okay, yeah, quiz, yeah. So Already I said to you कि we have made one quiz for you. So I am just pasting that link of that quiz. You can just, yeah, you can just go and submit your all the responses, all the answers. Yeah, I guess Android documentations would be a best resource for this Android applications course. I guess Android Studio resources. I guess so. You can go to the documentations of Android. You just go and type this Android documentations on the Google. You will find you can say official documentations of developer.android.com. I guess you can go with that. Yeah, I am not. So yeah, thank you all whoever joined from the YouTube and from the WebEx. So thank you to all. And if I guess you don't have any questions, then I guess we can conclude this session.